Welcome to part 6, the function and structure of the skin. Now what you also want to do is avoid excessive cold. Cold conditions actually have the sebaceous glands producing less because they compress. When this happens, oil remains in the glands and pores and it hardens. When production resumes, the oil can back up behind the hardened sebum, causing pimples, blackheads, whiteheads, etc. Unfortunately, if this is not addressed, these hardened plugs actually cause undersurface pressure to build up. This pressure and buildup causes the oil beneath the skin to erupt, but only after causing damage to the skin. And it doesn't always erupt outside. Sometimes it erupts inside, causing further damage. This might be in enlarged pores, rupturing of the glands or pore lining, bacterial contamination happens. It creates pockets of oils where fungi or bacterial organisms can flourish. None of this is good. The next thing you want to do is avoid harsh ingredients, astringents or cleansers, which might strip the oils from the skin's surface. This will result in the sebaceous glands going into overdrive to replenish these oils. Moisturizing and lubricating is something that you absolutely should do. And sometimes it runs counter to what clients with oily skin think they should be doing. Ideally, you should choose moisturizers and lubricants that contain essential oils, rich essential oils, expensive essential oils that help stabilize the skin sebum production. Now let's talk about the muscles. The erector pili muscles are bundles of smooth muscle fibers that attach to the connective tissue sheath of hair follicles. When the muscles contract, they pull the hair follicle outward, resulting in the hair erecting up, but also compressing the sebaceous glands, resulting in the secretion of their contents. Hair does not naturally be perpendicular. It usually is naturally at an angle. This erection of hair also produces goosebumps, the bumpy appearance of the skin. So how the skin regenerates healthy skin is important to understand. The skin is consistently and continually renewing and regenerating, replenishing themselves and shedding old dead skin cells. Shedding is also called desquamating. The process of renewal and regeneration is fairly universal throughout skin cells, no matter where on the body. However, it varies slightly depending on the body region. As we mentioned and discussed the layers of the dermis, there are more layers of cells in the thicker areas of the skin with an additional layer known as the stratum lucidum. Overall, in very simplistic terms, the process of cell division, squamation, and shedding happen like this. Cell division occurs in the stratum basal. Once one cell remains, the other cell is pushed toward the surface. Cells are pushed into the next layer toward the surface, the stratum spinosum, where the cells begin keratinization. As cells move from one layer to the next, they accumulate more and more keratin through a process called keratinization. The process of keratinization in human skin is necessary to form a shell-like, non-living protective covering over the whole body. Cells are then pushed into the stratum's next layer and become flattened and diamond-shaped. The cells then push further outward into the stratum corneum, where they flatten and lose some of their livingness. They're effectively dying. And as they die, most cells turn into a keratin matrix, a mix of lipids and proteins and dead skin cells and cellular materials. It's kind of like a mush. This pushes to the surface, protecting the underlying of the more alive underlying skin cells. In effect, that protective barrier stops moisture loss and stops large molecules and foreign compounds from penetrating the skin. That's what that mix does. And finally, the dead skin cells reach the outer layer, the skin surface, remaining there only for a very short period of time. Now, their purpose is to protect the skin's inner layers. Now, why are they only there for a short while? Well, other skin cells below them are constantly pushing outwards towards the skin surface. This pushing actually flattens those skin cells and causes those skin cells to break their cell-to-cell bonds. And believe it or not, this process never, ever, ever stops. This pushing up pressure further loosens the bonds, the cellular glue that holds the skin cells currently to the surface. And as this cellular glue loosens and the bonds start to break apart, these skin cells, they die. So they need to be shedded. And some of them are shedded by flaking off or brushing off, or when you scratch your skin or you exfoliate, or it's sloughed off, or it's peeled off, or it's molted, or otherwise discarded. From a skin's health standpoint, please note that if these aren't regularly shedded, they can actually negatively affect the skin's function and appearance in particular. The skin on your client's face, their chest, their hands, their arms can all appear dull, lifeless, non-glowing is what I like to call it, and actually a little flaky because dead skin cells are stubbornly hanging on. If you've ever experienced the heels of your feet becoming overly dry and even maybe cracking, you'll understand what happens when the skin cells aren't sloughing off and shedding properly. It becomes damaged. Dead skin cells tend to crack where there are too many of them, and they get clustered on the skin surface. When this happens in other areas of the skin, like the cuticles, the elbows, etc., it's not pretty. That's why proper exfoliation is crucial. If you haven't figured it out already, the other thing that happens is cracks appear on the face, and they are called wrinkles and little microabrasions, and that's just not pretty. So what are some skincare coaching suggestions that will actually help your clients' epidermis, their dermis, their hypodermis become healthier? Well, you can establish an anti-aging skincare routine, adhering to skincare experts' recommendations of night and daytime skincare routines, which are ideally encompassing 5 vital steps. That's the most effective way to take care of the 3 layers of your skin: cleansing, pH balancing, exfoliating manually and chemically, treating the skin with serums and ingredients that it's no longer able to produce or doesn't produce enough of, and moisturizing and hydrating are the keys for creating a solid skincare regime. Drinking lots of water, drinking at least 8 glasses of water each day, using mild cleansers and moisturizers on your skin with recommended essential oils and lubricants and appropriate skincare products is critically important. You would want to actually properly treat your wounds as well, and wash any open wounds with clear running water to get rid of all of the potential nasties and germs and bacterial contamination, fungal contamination, and viral contamination to prevent infections, as an example. Then you would want to use a cotton swab to apply a small amount of protective cream like a petroleum jelly or ointment over any wounds. The more you can heal it, the better. Ideally, you should cover any open wound to prevent dirt or bacteria from entering the body through the skin. That's just common sense. The next thing you should do to protect your skin is avoid sun damage. Overexposure to the sun's damaging rays is harmful to your skin. We all know that. So you should use an SPF of at least 30 and wear protective clothing whenever you go out for prolonged periods in the sun. Most important, listen to skincare professionals. Follow your healthcare professionals or your skincare coach's recommendation for keeping your skin at its very healthiest. Now let's talk about how you can help your clients better understand how the skin functions. The skin is the body's largest organ. We already know that. As a skincare coach, it's critical to have a solid working knowledge of how the skin operates. This is important for anything from analyzing the client's skin to recommending products or changes they need to make. When the skin is functioning properly, it looks healthy. What does healthy skin look and feel like?